Have you ever wondered what was going on between Canada in 1867 to 1914? Well, aren't you lucky? Me and some friends will show you what is going on. Hey, Cyborg, do you ever wonder what Confederation is? I do. Well, it's when Canada became a country in 1867 on July 1st. It's a pretty big deal because that meant we became our own country. That is pretty cool. Who are all these guys? Well, that's Sir John A. Macdonald. He's the father of Confederation, and what he did was combine all of Canada at the time, which really isn't the same size as now, but we'll get to that later. So at this point, Batman, Canada is a country. However, if you notice, the Louisiana Purchase was a big deal because that is where part of Canada is. So as Confederation happened, what we saw was that there's a big hole in the middle of Canada. Right there. And because of that, America wanted to take over. Manifest destiny. And when it didn't happen, Canada, what they did was they tried to populate the area. So they asked immigrants from like-minded countries, as they say, you can't see the air quotes, but they're there, to fill in this area. So they gave free land. Free land? Yes, Batman. Free land. And as a result, they populated the area so America would not take over. That's a great idea. Only one problem. What's that, Batman? I don't see Gotham. So now Canada's a country, and the gap, which is the prairies now, gets filled so America doesn't take over. America takes over everything though, doesn't it? Ha ha ha, Cap, you're so funny. So what happens was, now Britain declares war in South Africa against a group of people called the Boers. And what was supposed to be this really quick war ends up lasting almost 10 years. 10 years, that's nothing. I'm over 100 years old. You're right, that isn't long in your terms. But it does take a toll on the Canadians. And so, as the propaganda shows here, that's not the Canadian flag. No, we don't get that till 1965. What happens is, we are now fighting for Britain. And you can see, Soldiers of the Queen. Canadian contingent. So, we don't even have our own army. But we actually fight under the British flag. The Brits, eh? Yes, the Brits. And so, eventually, they actually get defeated. The British do. The British get defeated. But it's such a big country. I know, that's what makes it so shocking. So Canadians lose here, as do the Britons, but Canadians follow the British. That's the important lesson here. That's a great lesson. It is, thank you. So at this point, now we see that Canada has become a country, it fights for Britain, and it tried to fill in the gap for Manifest Destiny so America doesn't take over. But in the 1890s, something else happens called the Alaska Boundary Dispute. I know something about disputes. Yes, you do, Spidey. So, what happened was, Alaska gets purchased by United States, right here, from Russia. Russia? Yes, Russia. And now there's a big dispute because the Canadians say this is our land and the Americans say it's their land. That is a dispute. That is quite the conundrum. So if you look, there's a section here, and because they didn't have proper map making, because they didn't, they just said over that ridge, that is where Alaska starts. America says no, over this ridge, and as a result, we see lots of disputing happening. So, Soup, where do you think they went to? Well, my guess is they'd probably go to someone they trust, like Britain. They did. And even though we fought with them in the Boer War, even though we still couldn't declare our own laws unless they were passed by Britain, guess who the British side with? Well, the logical answer is Canada, but I think it's a trick. It is. So the Americans? Absolutely. And so now the Americans have gained the territory. And do you think Canada was upset? Probably. A little bit. But when it came to fight in World War I, guess who Canada fought with? Britain. Absolutely right. So, as we move now to World War I, you can see a bit of the history of Canada and why we do the things we do. Thanks, Soup. No problem. So there you have it. Canada, 1867 to 1914. That's what's going on. So, as we move on with history, hopefully we get a better sense of where Canada is, where they're going, and how it all plays out. Any questions, guys? Cap? No. Dark Knight? Never. Cyborg? No questions here. Soup? Not at all. Well, guys, that's it for now. Spidey out.